Hey there, welcome to Prog Monster. My name is Murph and I am the host of this show. A show dedicated to progressive rock, hard rock, heavy metal, and other forms of rock music. So sorry about that, I had the hat off and the glasses on. I meant the other way around. So anyways, welcome to our Monday night look back at a classic rock album. Now I know on my This Week show I did say I would be doing Twilight's Edge of Twilight by the Tea Party, but I was reviewing it and put it somewhere and I do not know where I put it. I've looked everywhere, I can't find it. So instead of doing that album, I'm going to do one that I purchased yesterday that I've had before and I'm very familiar with and like it quite a bit. I bought this as a brand new album yesterday too. Such a great album. So we're going to be doing this album, Black Sabbath's Mob Rules. By no means is this a downgrade from the album I was originally supposed to do. This is a great album, as many of Black Sabbath's are. Black Sabbath for me is one of those bands. They have 6 master albums and then a fair number of number ones too. So one of the best at that in that particular category. Okay, so this album is called The Mob Rules. It was released November the 4th, 1981 at Record Plant Studio in LA. That's where it was recorded. It's about 40 minutes in length on Vertigo Records and produced by none other than Martin Birch. So and one of the songs, The Mob Rules, was featured on the movie Heavy Metal. So really good album. The second album to feature Ronnie James Dio, and I forgot to mention who the band was. So this album has Ronnie James Dio on vocals, Vinny Appice or Vinny Appice, whatever you prefer, on drums, replacing Bill Ward from Heaven and Hell. Tony Iommi on guitars, of course, and Geezer Butler on bass. Okay, so this is the last kind of album that they did with Ronnie James Dio when they first formed. It was the last kind of studio album. They did do a live album, and they just seemed to be having problems with each other. So, anyways, I think there's about 9 tracks on this album. Maybe there's 10, but I think there's 9. 1, 2. Yeah, there's 9. It's like I thought there was. Okay, so it starts off with the start-off track on the album is Turn Up the Night. Really hard, crunching, heavy guitar, great riff, just bangs its way through. It's a heavy metal song of heavy metal status. A song I like quite a bit. Kind of reminds me of Neon Nights from the Heaven and Hell album, but a little more banging on this album, on this song. The next song is called Voodoo. Really cool song. A little bit more subdued than the first one. Slower pace. More of a Sabbath sound, I think. To me, Sabbath was slow and methodic metal. They're not like one of those speed metal bands, not by any stretch. And Voodoo is a song that fits that very well. Then we get to the epic classic Sign of the Southern Cross. This is one of the great Sabbath songs. It's melodic. Dio's voice is off the charts. Crashes through, but in such a slow, methodic way. Just almost majestic. The song is almost majestic for a dark, heavy metal song. Great tune. Then we get to the E5150 plus the Mob Rules. Though it's kind of starts out with at the beginning of Mob Rules a little bit of a bit. Not a bad part. I had actually forgotten about that, but yeah, it's on there too. The Mob Rules, of course, was the song they used on the movie Heavy Metal, and it's a banging, crunching kind of. I don't think it's as hard as Turn Up the Night, but it's a pretty heavy song. Crashes through it. A little bit of a faster paced song too. It's not something that you get a lot of from Black Sabbath, but it fits well on the album. And then you get the next song, which is to me one of the most underrated Black Sabbath songs, which is Country Girl. Such a melodic, Ronnie James singing his heart out here, just like a real emotional song. Another very underrated tune on the album. Christ, what more can you say about Country Girl? I think the lyrics are great. I think his voice is fantastic on this song, and it's a typical Sabbath kind of melancholy song, I think is the best way to put it. Then you get Slipping Away, which is another kind of banger. Not a fast-paced song, but a real heavy, beefy guitar sound to it. Slipping Away. Another one of the deep cuts on the album, I guess you might want to call it. Then you got Falling Off the Edge of the World, which is kind of similar to Sign of the Southern Cross. Not quite as good. And it kind of starts out melodically and then speeds up. It's a little bit more theme. And then you got Over and Over, which is a nice heavy track to end the album. So I don't like the album as much as Heaven and Hell, but it's still a great album. It's unfortunate that this was their last studio album with Ronnie James Dio. However, I guess we probably wouldn't have gotten Born Again, which is another great album with Ian Gillan. However, I still would have liked to have seen more stuff with Dio. I mean, they did do Dehumanizer almost a decade later, but I don't think... it's just unfortunate they were just pounding along with two great albums in a row and then looking like they were just going to... people thought they were done after Ozzy, and then this comes out, and Heaven and Hell comes out, and this comes out, and I'm just thinking this is even better. But it didn't last, unfortunately. That's what happens when egos get in the way. But still a great album. I'm looking forward to it. I haven't owned it for, over 35 years. I had it as an LP, but of course many of you know when I moved out, that collection went to my sister, and I just never got around to replacing it. I might have had it on cassette at some point too. I seem to remember having it on cassette. But at any rate, I have it again, and since I couldn't find the Twilight album I had planned to do, I thought this is a great album to do. So there you have it, Black Sabbath's Mob Rules from 1981. If you get a chance to listen to this album, if you haven't listened to it before, and you like Sabbath, this is a great album. You'll love it. Okay, so please like and subscribe if it helps me a lot, and it's much appreciated. And we'll be back again next week, and hopefully I'll find my Twilight, the Edge of Twilight, and we'll do the Tea Party next week instead. So you have yourself a good evening, and we'll see you soon. Bye.